Hello everyone, it's Todd Screama, and we're talking about Chapter 8 in Black Belt Branch Manager Coaching, giving you some hows and whys on training the people. So years ago, I was talking to a group of branch managers, and I was like, dude, you gotta hire people, hire 3 people, and there was 2 of them, 2 really good ones, and they said, I didn't understand why they weren't executing and hiring these people, and finally one of them said, then we have to train them! Guys, I'm telling you, don't ever not hire people because you don't want to train them. That whole freakazoid really taught me a lesson where, yeah, people need to be trained, but we have a whole training department to help with that. And yes, there's a lot of training that has to happen at the branch level. Let me give you some simple tips around that. The first thing that I will tell you around training is a lot of people, and there's a lot of studies on this, most people end up leaving companies either due to lack of training or because they don't like the manager or the company. Okay, so those are the major reasons why people leave companies. Every company will tell you that they do train their people. I will tell you about 90% of us do not. And so really when you train people, and they've done studies on this, what do they really need to know? And if you boil it down into 3 things, they need to know how to do things, what to do, and why to do it. And I know that sounds super simple, but if you can spend the first 90 days of someone's hire focused on those 3 things, that would help. Now, when you talk about how to train, yes, there's all kinds of things that Summit Funding does with our 1-week programs and 3-day training programs and the first 30 days of hire, all the training that we do via webinars, and all that stuff helps. But when you have someone start, like I just had a executive vice president start here at Summit, I literally sat down with him and we made a list of 25 things that he needs to know. And I told him his job is, over the next 45 days, is to come back to me with that list completely checked off. And I gave him my secretary that'll help him meet with the right people and all that stuff. Just make a list of everything that, one of the things on his list was how the phone system works. Now that doesn't sound like a big deal to some of you. You're like, oh, he's an executive, he's smart, he'll figure it out. No. He's got to know how to transfer calls, how to pick up calls, how to pick up his voicemail. That takes, someone training him maybe 15 minutes 2 times before he learns that function. And so that's a small issue that can be a huge issue. So when it comes to training, what I would tell people is don't freak out. Take a breath, and you don't have to do most of the training, okay? You got people in your branch, and you got professional trainers all over Summit that do trainings all the time. And so training is something that's shared, but it's your job to direct the training. And that's more of what this is about. I think how most people feel is, oh my God, if I hire someone, then I've got to waste 60 hours training them. No, I would say the average branch manager should spend about 4 hours training a new position, and the other 90 hours is separate, between Summit trainers and people in your branch. They will take care of all the rest. So that's the big picture around training. Don't cause it to not have you hire. That's crazy. Number 2 is what people need to know is the how, why, and what of what they're doing. You can't focus on that enough. And then a simple process is throw up on a piece of paper on every single thing they need to know, and then check it off once they mastered it. And give them 45 to 60 days to do so. Okay? That is the nuts and bolts of training. There's much more detail in the book, but that's the nuts and bolts in the simplest way I can tell you. Being a great trainer and developing people changes lives. And at the end of the day, that's what we're here to do. Thank you.